information and get you to a place of understanding who you are as an individual as well as in business. But today, of course, we have a great conversation that she and I have been having. Now, most women, as you know of, during the time of COVID, we were in that place of a lot of women were having babies. And so now we're realizing that more women are over the age of 40 having babies. Not me, of course, not me. But, of course, Shauna had that amazing opportunity listen, to have a baby over the age of 40. And so we have been having this dialogue. And so today, y'all, we're going to dive deep because we have a lot of people that we are connected to and that we know who are over the age of 40 having kids. Yeah. And so, Shauna, what did that look like for you? Because I know it was interesting watching you go through it.
It was, I almost could say terrifying to say the least. Yeah, I didn't know how it happened. and I say that to say it wasn't in the plan. I wasn't looking to have another child.
Right.
I had just got to a place where I was okay with getting a dog, and that took like 3 years. And evidently, I wasn't supposed to get a dog because I ended up pregnant. And I was 43, getting ready to be 44 in a few months. And so I was angry. I was angry about it. I was sad about it. It was not what I wanted then. Because I have a 10-year-old, so people understand, right? Because some women are coming into this spot and this is their first child. Gotcha. But I have a 10-year-old, and I was good with our trio, as we used to call it. Now we're quad, but I was good with our trio. And so news of having another baby was like, I'm a little too old. Mind you, I had Chloe at 34, and here Charlie was coming 10 years later at 44, and I was like, God, this ain't right.
Yes, because I totally understand when you say that, because my husband had a vasectomy and it reversed itself. I was done too. I have a 19-year-old soon to be 20, and then I have a 13-year-old and I have an 8-year-old. And you talking about almost 20, and then I've got an 8-year-old.
12 years later.
So let me tell you, it's a shock to think that you're doing everything you're supposed to do to keep yourself from getting pregnant again, which my husband thought he was doing me a favor and gave me 18 more years of a beautiful favor. But when you include an energy at God, because everybody kept telling me, oh, if this was meant to happen, God saw fit. Let me tell you something, okay? I love the Lord, but I didn't want another baby. Okay, let's go there. So I know exactly how you feel when you say, this was not a part of the plan. I was good with 2. I was fine with the 2 kids, plus my husband being the 3rd one, of course, how that go. But I was good.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, the whole what do we do now? It had been 10 years since having a baby. I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm gonna tell you what's interesting, right? It's kind of like God knows what He's doing all the time,
yes,
right?
Yes, He does.
Because I started noticing that I was connecting with people who had kids that were like 10 years or better apart. And I used to say, well, I keep meeting all these people. Well, here we are. My pregnancy was rough, to say the least. I am a little chunky, guys, and I'm a little bit heavier than I should be at my height and my age. But I was heavy when I had Chloe too. And so, but that pregnancy was amazing.
Oh, yes.
It was amazing.
Oh, yeah, that first one was awesome.
I did have preeclampsia with Chloe. I was at home. I didn't know what was happening. And that was like the 38th week, right? I had it the 37th week. I was at home the 38th week. With Charlie, though, like with Chloe, all I really did was sleep. But with Charlie, in my lower torso, there was a lot of pain. And, the doctors were like, that's your cervix stretching. And I was like, nah, this feels different.
Yeah.
But they, it was so amazing how they just wanted to keep telling me that's what it was. But it would be like, I couldn't walk some days. I literally spent most of my pregnancy in the bed, literally. And that kind of sucked to say the least because I was missing out on life. But I just couldn't move and function like I used to.
Yeah.
And like, I finally got okay with having a baby, right? My mama was like, you have got to have a confident expectation of good.
But how long was it before you accepted the pregnancy?
I was in my 6th month.
Come on now, sis. That was me too.
I was in my 6th
That was
month.
me too. Because everybody kept trying to convince me to accept it. And I had to come to terms. Even my doctor, y'all, was like, you know I medicate patients like you, don't you know? You know I medicate them. I said, what do you mean? Because your children are so far apart that mentally you've checked out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over it. I'm done. I'm moving on my life. Gave away all my baby stuff. That stuff been gone. And now I'm in a place of confusion too. Because I was like, really? So I was like, everybody kept trying to get me to accept it. You need to accept it, get past it. And I'm like, no. And then when my doctor was like, I can give you some medication, to get yourself together, make you feel better. And I'm like, why would I want you to medicate me? I just haven't came to terms with it.
Right. And for me, it was, 5 pregnancy tests and an ultrasound before I believed that there was a baby there.
Oh, wow.
Like, because it was really like,
I get it.
Nah, this ain't. I was crying. What changed for me was taking my mom's advice and just trying to have a confident expectation of good with the baby, and then starting to hear women around me who hadn't had children. They were not married. They wanted marriage, children, and I gave them hope because I'm 44 getting ready to have a baby.
Right.
And that in itself felt good, but I still had to go through delivery. And I was at my parents' house, and like I knew my blood pressure had shot up. I just started feeling all the way bad, and I'm like, y'all don't feel good. Just take me home so I can rest. And I was huge, and then as they was trying to like gather my daughter up and get things together to take me home, I was like, take me to the emergency room. So I went to the emergency room, and then they ended up taking me to the hospital where I delivered. And this baby was coming in the 38th week.
Oh, wow.
That was, the C-section was scheduled. I had 2 C-sections, and I had preeclampsia again. So now they're trying to get my blood pressure down, and this time it was a lot worse. So they was trying to get I don't want to say it was worse. With Chloe, my blood pressure got up to like 214 over 111, and I was at home. I was glad to be in the hospital this time, but at this age, delivery can be a lot scarier, or going through pregnancy can be a lot scarier, especially if you're not in like the best of shape, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm getting there, but I'm not. And so preeclampsia showed up, my blood pressure. They was like, well, we're going to take the baby at this time, because she was at term anyway. But so I ended up having a baby the next morning. I was glad too, because let me tell you, they heavy. But the pain didn't go away for a while. That pain was still in my lower torso. I'm talking about like barely walk pain. And days in the hospital because they still had to get my blood pressure down.
But isn't that crazy how age plays a factor in so many things in our lives? As women, we battle so many things, period. But that's the closest you'll come to death, is giving birth. And then it makes it even worse when you're older, because I got carpal tunnel in both my arms. And then, when you sit up here with braces on both your arms looking like you've been in a wreck, and you wondering, oh, I'm falling apart. My kids always tell me that, Mama, you just getting old, you falling to pieces. And it's like, that's how you feel. Because everything that could go wrong, and then you put, see, I told me having a baby.
But
don't do it.
There's hope.
Look, yes, what hope?
So,
give me some.
So today, if somebody said, well, do you want another baby? My answer is absolutely not. On the table, when they had me cut open, the lady was like, Miss Price, do you still want to do a tubalization? And I was like, if you don't cut these tubes up right now, we're going to have some issues.
Oh, all day long.
Do you want to see the baby? I'll see her when I'm done. Close me up, right? So there's still hope, though, for women who haven't come down this journey. Like, so many women desire
to be a mother,
to be moms.
Mm-hmm.
They desire to be moms again.
Yes.
So, like, I'm blessed. I'm grateful for Charlie. That's her name. I'm grateful for Charlie. Was it hard? Was it tough? It absolutely was one of the toughest things I did this time around. Women who have no clue what it's like to be a mom,
That's true.
and then they get pregnant late stage.
Yeah, because I had a lady here in Charlotte. She 49 years old, and she's pregnant with her first baby. Something her and her husband have been trying for years to get pregnant. And when I talked to her, the first thing she says to me is, "I have to learn patience because I don't have any." And when she said you reach a certain age in your life where it's not to be mean, you all, but you just get to a place where you're just comfortable being where you are at your age. You know, you're not accepting of change too quickly. You know, you don't really, it's a lot that goes in plays a part in aging, as we must say it. Some things we do and some things we're not going to do. And when you throw in a potential infant into a 49-year-old's life where she's not accustomed to getting up and, you know, being so active and, you know, and she was like, "I just don't know how I'm going to deal with it." And I said, "You got to take it one day at a time."
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something too, because I'm pretty sure that this lady is excited to be a mom.
She's excited.
But
she is.
There's so much that comes with being a mother that we do not talk about, that those will be the things that I would say, like I told somebody the other day, I was like, it's the most amazing thing in the world to be able to bring another life here, and take care of it, but it's overwhelming to say the least.
Yeah.
Because you have those times where you don't have time for you, if you're not used to automatically including that. And if you're having a baby at 49, even if you've always had you time, that's getting ready to get chopped up.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding how to I ain't even gonna say balance, to have some harmony in giving yourself some you time, that's hard. It's really hard.
I can agree with you, because that's what my mother-in-law said to me is, "How you gonna balance 3 kids?" You know, because it was a lot balancing
MVPs.
3. Is knowing how to function. That's why I tell people all the time, to be a single mom and to have 3 children on your own, and you lean on family as support. I mean, that within itself is a lot. But having another unplanned pregnancy was a lot. For me, it was. And being able to deal with the day-to-day operations, as I can say, having a system in place. And so when you go into that thing trying to figure out, okay, how we're going to maneuver through this thing, what is this going to look like? Am I going to be able to work a job? You know, am I going to be mentally sound? That's another thing is, am I getting therapy? Because that messes with your mind, being over the age of 40, having a baby. It makes you wonder, like, I'm exhausted. How am I going to do this?
I'm in therapy. This is how we're doing this. I'm in therapy. And when I'm in there, honestly, I talk about my kids a lot, because there's so much that comes into play with my children. The kind of example that I'm setting for them, being able to like have time away from them. My husband, I just came with a game plan where he's off during the week, in the middle of the week. And so every other week that he gets his day, I get my day. You know, and the other day we share, right? So that we can just have some time to ourselves, because that is so needed. If you are with this child 24, or what feels like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
yes,
that will put you in a state of loneliness. It'll put you in a place where you feel like I told him, most of my conversations are with kids.
Yes, and you want to have some adult conversation.
Right.
Because I was a stay-at-home mom. So I truly understand that day-to-day was kids. It was nothing else. I didn't talk to adults that often. So adult interaction was null and void, because I was home with a baby. So who was going to, you know, I'm going to hang out, but I got to bring my baby with me. You know, it's not that adult time where I don't have my child with me. Not saying I don't love my baby, but you need some time to kind of like recharge, refuel, and say, okay, let's do it again. You know, and I think that's the hard, I mean, you know, but I commend you.
You know, it takes a lot of, like she said, she needs patience. Y'all, yeah. I'm very short on patience. I don't have patience for adults. Because all my patience goes to my children, right? And I lacked patience to start with. So now that I have children, I have to give them patience. If I could give advice to any woman over 40 years old about having a baby at that age, because I think I'm a rock star now, y'all. It's done. I'm a rock star. People, I'd be like, yes, I got a 15-month-old and I'm 45, right? But the best thing I would tell someone is give yourself grace, right? Because when I tell you you need grace, it's been days I'm in there and I've cried. It's been days in there I feel like I'm gonna break down. It's been days in there it's all happy-go-lucky. It's been days where I feel like I'm pulling my hair out, and I have more of those days than I have the other days, right? So like, give yourself some grace. Have you some type of schedule where even if it's not like a boom, boom, boom schedule, just some things that you do every single day with your child that becomes their normal, right? At first I didn't have that. Now we have us a little schedule, honey. So like, we're up at a certain time, we eat at a certain time, she takes her nap at a certain time. Now when she wake up from that nap, it's no holds bars. Then we wow, we doing whatever. But that beginning of the day, it helps me for the beginning of my day. So grace is needed, because women now, and not just after you have the child, but even through your pregnancy, like, give yourself some grace. Be okay with saying no, right?
Right.
Take your time, right? Because you want to get through delivery safely.
That's there,
right?
Definitely.
And you want to get through delivery. I don't know how I can put emphasis on that. I cannot imagine my children's life without me. And nor do I want to.
Right.
Right? So you want to get through it safely. But it's a different task. It's not like popping these kids out at 20 years old. Or even 30. Like, I had Chloe at 34.
You bounce back in your 20s, you know.
I know nothing about that.
I had my first at 24. It was a bounce back, boo. It was.
I bet you was.
Pop it out, and it was shaped, snatched back again, and it don't snap back no more. You know, you gonna have to go to the gym. You know, you have to do that. So I think a lot of times is, as we get older, it's a planning. A lot of times we try to plan our pregnancies, because then you try to have that mindset of, I've got to do this. Mm-hmm. I've got to get that ready. I've got to get that ready. But when you deal with unplanned, which we both have experienced unplanned, it's harder.
All my pregnancies were unplanned.
Oh, just one. My first two was planned. This last one about took the life out of me, y'all. It did something to me. I'm so serious.
Clearly, it's still doing something to her, and the baby is 8. Okay,
because you know,
she talked about it, you can see.
But you don't forget, y'all. These are things you don't forget. You always remember this.
Yeah,
you will always remember this. Like,
that's kind of the beauty of it, though. Like, that's a conversation every single time, right? For new moms that are 40, you'll never forget that you was a rock star because you pushed the baby out.
I'm just saying, it's like, you know, seriously, it's like I always tell women, they ask me all the time, you know, oh, I'm going to get myself fixed. Make sure your husband does not help you get a vasectomy. No, it doesn't work. I tell them all the time. I said, take care of yourself. Yes, that's what I say. Because I got fixed. After that happened, sister is fixed. Shop shut down. Shop is shut down.
Y'all heard what I said. Cut the tubes.
Look, we don't.
Cut them, burn them. They was like, well, we don't burn them anymore. I was like, well,
do what you got to do down
Cut them all the way up.
Yes.
Chop them.
I'm telling you, and y'all may laugh and think this is so funny, but when you walk through the process of a pop-up, which, you know, a baby is a blessing, y'all. Don't get me wrong, but when it first happens, I was emotional. It was a pop-up. It was, you know, somebody said, oh, it wasn't an oops. No, it wasn't an oops, like my mother-in-law says all the time. It wasn't an oops, because you're married, and that's what married folks do. I looked at her like, really? Really? Is this what we're going to do right now? But I was emotional. I was crying.
But here's the thing, because it's life-changing. And I think that's what we don't realize about children. And especially now, like, Chloe is 10, and we were doing our thing, right? She's self-sufficient. I started all the way over.
Yes, you did.
All the way over.
Yes.
In my 40s, when I turn 60, my daughter will be 20-ish, possibly. No, I had her at 44. When I turned 60, she'll be 16. I started all the way over. And for some people, they're just starting. They don't even know what it's like to not have to ask for a Happy Meal at 50 years old, right?
Oh my God.
I used to say, God, I don't want to ask for a Happy Meal at 50 years old because I thought I wasn't going to be a mom. Chloe didn't get here fast enough. I was married 7 years before she showed up. Now, I was like, oh God, I got jokes because I'm still going to be saying I need a Happy Meal at 50.
I was planning on being an empty nester very young. You know, I was on my way. 120, on her way, starting her whole life. 13, I was still good. You know, 13, we still on the home stretch. High school, and now I got an 8-year-old. So we gonna just do this thing.
I've honestly been thinking about starting like a mom's group
Mm-hmm.
for women who have kids late.
Right. Well, you all, it's always, you know, our conversations are always in depth. We can go on and on about being a mom. We can go on and on about everything, as we always do.
Listen.
But I thank you again for being a part of the Girlfriends Chit Chat show tonight. We thank you so much, and we look forward to this time. You all have a good night.